In June of 2025, we surveyed 1,000 young guys across the US. These are guys aged 18 to 29, and here's what we found. There are two kind of really interesting sort of main takeaways about how young men feel about kind of the state of the world today. So, early in the survey, we asked this simple question that basically just said, do you think that you are better off or worse off than your grandparents were at your age? And much to my surprise, young men tended to feel that their grandparents actually had it better than they do now. And particularly notably, I will just say that actually included more young Black men who said that they believe that their grandparents had it better than they did. But this was actually pretty common across race and ethnicity. So, on the one hand, there seems to be this sort of nostalgia that young men have for the way that things were kind of back in the old days. On top of that, something else that I think doesn't get discussed enough, or that maybe we don't take seriously enough, is that for all of these sort of different experiences that young men are having, they want stuff out of life that pretty much anybody could relate to. So I think kind of out there in the ether, there's this sort of conversation, there's this sort of assumption that young men are sort of like falling away from society. They're like totally sort of despondent about the state of the world, et cetera, et cetera. But if you ask them what they actually want out of life, the stuff that they say that they want, to get married, to have kids, to have a house, to have a career, are things that pretty much anybody would relate to as like a major life goal that they want to achieve. So on the one hand, yes, there is this pervasive sense of pessimism about kind of the state of the world. When you ask young men about how they feel about the current state of the economy, they're still as pessimistic as they were back in November 2024 when they went to the voting booth and voted out the incumbent president. They're still feeling that level of pessimism, but at the same time, the stuff that they actually want out of life are things that we can all relate to and that have been true of previous generations across time. They want family, kids, and a house and a career. So the stuff that they actually want to get hasn't fundamentally changed. And additionally, a lot of these young men also say they do believe they will be able to get there eventually. Not that many young guys actually say that they are totally sort of shut off from society in this sort of incel y type of way that we might think. Most young guys not only want these things, but believe that there will be eventually a path for them to get those things.